This is Sue of Equinox Family Consulting, and this evening I'm going to talk to you about hi Jessica, why your child's behavior is not about you. And I'm sure this will come as welcome news to many of you because it's so easy to take it personally. But first, I want to just give a huge shout out to Cody Lee, who is the young man on the autism spectrum who last night won America's Got Talent. I don't watch these shows typically, but I happened to see one of his videos online and it just blew me away. He sang a Billy Joel song and I was just shivers from stem to stern. And one of my clients mentioned to me a couple of nights ago, hello Kimberly, that the finals were on Wednesday night. So I watched them, and it was Wednesday night, no, Tuesday night, I forget. Anyways, so he won, and trust me, he was up against some super stiff, incredible competition. So what does this tell us? Really, what does this tell us? That there is so much possible for our kids. And I want you to know that your child is capable of way more than you believe that he or she is capable of. Melinda, hello, thanks for joining me. And one other thing, we have a long lineup of moms wanting to get into our group. But the thing is, they have to answer the questions. So we only want moms and dads of kids with autism in our group. So we have a very staunch commitment to that. So invite your friends, but make sure you tell them that they must answer the questions. Okay? All right. So let's get to tonight's topic. So your child's behavior is not about you. And it is so easy to assume that it is. And of course, I've been there myself. I was telling a client this earlier in the week about when my son was 3.5 and I was making spaghetti sauce in a crock pot. You know, I tried so hard to be organized so that I wouldn't have mayhem, which of course I always did. Anyways, I came to the kitchen and I saw my son sitting on the kitchen counter right beside the crock pot. And he watched me come in and he smiled at me. And then he proceeded to push the crock pot off the kitchen counter, a full crock pot of spaghetti sauce. Oh yeah, I took that personally. But you know what? Now I know it wasn't. And here's the thing. Okay, so you have probably heard me say before that relationships build brains. And when I say that, I mean it literally. So, you know how the grooves in a vinyl record are they're grooves, right? They are created in our brain. These, so to speak, grooves are created through, hello, Nassine. Hi, I'm so glad you're here. They are created, so our brains are literally created interaction by interaction by interaction. Hi, Lauren, welcome. And so every interaction that takes place between parents and caregivers shapes your child's brain. And I mean that quite literally. So here's the thing. In a typically developing child, what happens is that there is this deep, deep bond that creates a real sense of safety. So the child is able to borrow the parent's perspective and really, hi Lisa, and the child is able to borrow the parent's perspective and sense danger based on the parent's perspective. And there's also an emotional feedback loop that develops between typical parents or typical children and their parents. And there is resilience that is developed as a result of all of those many, many interactions. So in the case of a child with autism, these things are not in place. And so normally children learn to use their parents' calm demeanor when they're crying to calm themselves. So I'm going to say that again. So imagine you're with your mom and you're freaking out and you're crying, and your mom comes to you and immediately you calm down. And we learn how to calm down through our parents' our relationship with us, and then eventually, oh, thank you. And then eventually, over time, with practice, we learn to self-regulate. So we have to learn to co-regulate with our parents before we can self-regulate, okay? So this is why in children with autism, hi Vicky, thank you. This is why in children with autism, they usually cannot self-regulate because they haven't yet learned to co-regulate with us. Does this make sense? Do you have any questions? This is really important. So, hi Lynn. So, to make a long story short, because of the wiring in your child's brain and the differences or the gaps in development in your child's developmental trajectory, he or she did not learn to co-regulate with you as an infant. How do we teach them to co-regulate? Yes, and that's a good question. I will get to that in just a moment. So therefore, they cannot self-regulate. And so who is the one person in your child's life that he or she can count on no matter what? Any guesses? You. You. I'm going to say it again, you. You are your child's safe person. Even though you don't have the ability to co-regulate yet, you are your child's safe person. So we lash out at the ones we love, don't we? That's just human nature. That's what we do. And so you are the one who your child will lash out to, because your child knows that you love them and they're not going to get booted out on the street. So, bottom line, your child gives you a hard time because you're safe. And your child knows how to push your buttons. But this does not mean that your child is lashing out at you. Now, granted, there are going to be times when that is the case. You know, for example, if you're constantly saying, no, you can't do this, no, you can't do that. Well, it's human nature to respond with that, when someone says you can't. Anybody is going to respond that way, not just a child with autism. So your child is not always lashing out at you in a personal way. Sometimes maybe, but most of the time not. Okay? And so to answer your question, Vicki, teaching a child to co-regulate is a big deal. And it's not something that would really be possible without support. I'm going to be honest and say that, okay? Now, I am currently running my online 6-month program, Better Behavior and Beyond, and that's going to be part of that program, is learning to co-regulate with your child, but it's something that what you can do is you can start by doing turn-taking things with your child. Co-regulation is a lot more than turn-taking. Co-regulation is kind of like a conversation where, imagine a conversation on the phone with a friend where what you say has an impact on your friend, and then she thinks of something and she says something back to you. So it goes back and forth, but nobody is in control of the conversation, and no one is saying you have to do this or you have to do that. So co-regulation is like something that just sort of magically unfolds. It's like a process. So what I would do is I would start by doing things, playing games with your son, Vicky, that are sort of turn-taking in nature. Now, chances are very high that your son is going to try to control. And why is that? Can anyone take a wild guess? Why does your child need to control? Anyone want to take a stab at that? Okay, I'll give you a little help. Your child does not manage uncertainty well. And uncertainty is extremely frightening and threatening to your child. So your child is human, and human nature is to survive. We all have a very strong survival instinct. So your child tries to control so that he knows what is going to happen. Okay, so if he's controlling, he knows what to expect. If he's not controlling, he does not know what to expect. And that uncertainty can be almost crippling to some kids. So that's why they have such a strong need for control. Hello, Sky. Thanks for joining me. So, yes, so that is why your child's behavior is not about you. Okay, shoot, I missed the last 2 minutes. My window messed up. I came back in about playing games. So yes, I was addressing your question, Vicky, about how to help your child learn to co-regulate. And what I said was, it's tricky. It's generally something that you would need support to do. And, but what I said is begin with doing turn-taking activities. Okay, and I just went on to say that co-regulation is a lot more than turn-taking. It's deeper than that. But I don't want to repeat everything I said. So I'm going to stop there. I hope this was helpful. I'm so sorry that I got booted off of my own internet early in the game. I wasn't sure whether to start from scratch or pick up where I left off. So I decided to pick up where I left off. Anyhow, thank you all for joining me. And if you are interested in better behavior and beyond, you can start at any time. It's a 6-month program. It's online, so you go through pre-recorded modules to learn all about autism and how to build a connection with your child and how to improve behavior and really feel that genuine love, reciprocal connection with your child. If this resonates with you, please reach out to me. All right, thank you so much for being here. I will see you next Thursday. If you have things you want me to talk about in my Facebook Lives, then by all means, just make a comment below and I will happily talk about something you're curious to learn more about. All right, thank you so much, everyone. Have a great night. And remember, your child's behavior is not about you, I promise. Take care.